Hey there, thanks for stopping by. I'm Bluebear and this is another Incarnate video. Today we're moving on to the rare parts for all the walkthroughs and we're going to start with the Archon. So I hope you enjoy the video and let's get into it. Alright, so we are ready to start testing the rare abilities and we're going to start with the Archon. So let's talk about each of the parts real quick. The Mind part is called Terrasculpt, and the ability is raise the spaces around all enemies in your presence by Terra +3, take an extra turn. Pretty straightforward. As long as there's an enemy in your presence, and remember the presence is based off the presence or pre as it's called in the short form, stat, and it's right now in this Incarnate, it's specific to this Incarnate, is presence of 3. So as long as you have an enemy within 3 spaces of you, you will raise each adjacent space around them, so forward, backwards, left, right, by 3 spaces in the Z direction. So it basically creates like a little chamber, if you will, around an enemy, and it will do that for all enemies. And if you are next to the enemy when this happens, it will actually raise the space that you're on. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that. The body part is called Riftwarp, and the skill is teleport forward, teleport +2 spaces. Create a rift on the space that you left. Your rifts deal damage to enemies in area AoE +1. So what this is going to do is wherever you start, you're going to leave a rift behind on that space that you teleport from. You are going to teleport 2 spaces, and it actually doesn't matter if it's line of sight or if it's raised like 6 units or anything like that. You can actually you teleport to that space. So it's a really powerful maneuver because you could actually get up to really high spaces without actually having to move up those 6 or 7 or 10 units, whatever it is. So the second part of that, though, is that your rifts deal damage to enemies in area AoE +1. So that means 1 space away from that rift, they're going to do damage. Okay, so the soul part is called Genesis. The skill is attack a target space and all targets in area of effect +1 of it. Create a rift in front of you. So this skill is really, really important to understand the way it's worded. So the target space that you attack, it does not have to have an enemy incarnate on it. So you're attacking that space. Any space that is 1 space away from that specific space is going to take damage. It doesn't matter if it's an ally, it doesn't matter if it's an ally zombie or rift, it doesn't matter if it's an enemy. It's really important to know that because you will do damage to yourself, and I'll show you that in a minute. But just it's very specific on that card. Attack a target space and all targets. So it's not, it's not saying all enemies, it's not saying all allies or anything like that. It's saying all targets. So it's very important that you read that pretty literally because it will do damage to you. All right, so with that, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to find this Incarnate in your inventory, and we'll go ahead and get into the abilities. All right, so like always, I'm going to show you where to find this Incarnate and how to do that. So we are looking at the Rare Incarnate, which is a blue border, and we've got 3 Incarnate abilities here that are the Archon. Given, dictated by the blue circles here. So we're going to use that. And as always, we go through the affinities just to make sure that we're clear on those. Each of these have, Incarnates have an affinity. They're based on the part affinities associated with it. As long as your parts have 2 or more of those affinities, that Incarnate becomes that affinity. So we've got a life affinity on this part, life on this part, life on this part. So there's 3 parts there. That's greater than 2. Simple math. That means it's going to be a life affinity Incarnate. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the skills. All right, so the enemy Incarnate went first. Took some damage already, but what we're going to do is we're going to use the Mind part real quick. For Terrasculpt, raises the spaces around all enemies in your presence by 3, take an extra turn. So you can see the light blue squares that are being highlighted showing you your presence. And you can see that it goes 1, 2, 3 spaces out. And then if you look at it again out there to the top, 1, 2, 3 spaces out there. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to move to be right in front of this Incarnate. and then we're gonna use that ability. And again, it's going to raise the spaces around this Incarnate. So it's this space, this space, this space, and this space. So we should raise our ally Incarnate up by 3 spaces. So let's try it out. There we go. So raise 3 spaces and it grants an extra turn. So once I hit end turn here, it should grant me an extra turn. Yep, there we go. So I got the extra turn. We're gonna go ahead and use the teleport forward 2 spaces, the Riftwarp part, and teleport forward 2 spaces, create a rift on the space you left. Your rifts deal damage to enemies in area 1. So it's going to teleport me to this space. It's going to leave a rift on this space, and it's going to do damage from that rift. So let's see if it works. There we go. So I teleported, there's my rift, and you saw the damage. It was like 2,400 or something like that in one shot. So the rifts do a pretty good amount of damage. They do, they are pretty cool. I haven't played with the Archon too much, so I don't have too much experience dealing with the rifts, but from what I have seen and from the little that I played, they're pretty powerful. All right, let's go on to the last ability. All right, so this enemy Incarnate had a turn, and the rift that I had up here, it attacked it, and the rift died, so it's no longer there. That's why you don't see it. We're going to go ahead and use the last ability here called Genesis. It says attack a target space and all targets in area 1 of it. Create a rift in front of you. So what this is going to do is attack any space that I select that's within that red range. And again, all of these attack abilities are based on your range. So if you look over here, my range is 5. I can see that I've got a range of 5 by hovering over this and counting. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then if there was another space, it'd be out here. It actually kind of looks like, no, that looks right. Okay. If you're kind of counting the spaces, you would expect that this space, and this space get highlighted red as well. But the problem is, because you have line of sight with these pillars, if we go here, you can't see those spaces, right? Based on the line of sight mechanics in this game. So what's happening is I can't actually attack those spaces because I have line of sight issues. So that's really important to know, because you know, you may expect to be able to hit those because the range is 5, but just remember there's a line of sight going on. And I know that it's working from 5 because if I go out to this space here, that's highlighted. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces away. So it definitely is based on that 5 range, and there is line of sight issues there. Okay, so let's get back to the skill though. I'm going to select this space here just for demonstration purposes, so you see what the skill does. If we go ahead and just, let's see, zoom in a little bit there, see what's going on. I can go ahead, attack a target space and all targets in area 1 of it. Create a rift in front of you. So I'm going to attack this space, create a rift, and I'm going to also damage any target that's in this space, this space, this space, or this space. So yes, I will be damaging myself, and you'll see that. So let's go ahead and use that. There we go. So I just crit myself. But I did put a rift down, and I did do damage to this enemy Incarnate. So it's very important to know what the skill means or how it reads. It's very important because you want to avoid obviously doing damage to yourself and doing damage to other rifts or zombies or anything like that. You want to try to keep this from only hitting, or keep this to only hitting the enemy Incarnates. All right, another quick video. That was all the skills for the Archon that are rare quality. We saw some really cool mechanics there, you know, raising the board, trapping, you know, the Incarnate there, taking an extra turn. I think that was the first time we've seen extra turn be used in a part. It's a really powerful ability because you get to go kind of snowball effect on how many turns you can go if you build certain Incarnates with extra turn abilities. We also saw that you can actually damage yourself in this game. That's really important. Because if you're not aware of that type of skill or mechanism or the board layout, and how you're using that ability, you're going to just hurt yourself in the long run, because obviously you're doing damage to yourself, literally. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please throw a like and subscribe out there. Toss some comments down below. Let me know if you like these videos. Which of these 3 parts were your favorite that you think you're going to be able to use in the game? Hope you enjoyed the video again, and have a great day. We'll see you in the next one.